What's going on, everyone? So happy to be here in front of the Les Brown audience. I already know that this is a room filled with people that have goals and dreams because of who Les Brown naturally attracts. My name is Philip Jayhawk Chan, and I want to share with you my personal story today to give you additional inspiration and actionable items so you can go after the dream that has already predestined for you ahead of time by the universe. See, for me, it was 2008 when I was sitting across my best friend's basement at the time, and my KU Jayhawks hit the game tying shot against Memphis to go into overtime. And I knew that right then at that moment, when we went into overtime, we would come out victorious. And as we did, that was the day and moment that I got officially indoctrinated as a Jayhawk raised in the championship state of Kansas. Now, why you is in basketball involved in this entrepreneurship talk here today? See, basketball to you guys might not mean much, but to me, it means everything and has everything to do with why I am currently on the path I am on now. As I was 16 years old and we ran across the neighborhood with our shirts off screaming, "We won the championship! We won the championship!" It, for me, instilled a passion and love for the game that was unparalleled and what I would say injected for the rest of my life. The issue is that for me, coming from a traditional culture where I was born in Hong Kong and we decided to immigrate over to America for a better opportunity, the issue was even though I made the team in high school and I knew that I had what it took to walk on to KU itself, when it comes to anything athletics related, no matter how wealthy or non-wealthy your family is, traditional culture just would not support it. No matter what I did, see, if it comes to LSAT, MCAT, SAT, ACT, all of a sudden, oh, we're going to find you the money for that. But when it comes to anything athletics or basketball related, don't you already have a gym membership? Why would we want to pay for you to have access to trainers and resources to take this game to a new level when you ought to be focused on your career? Are you insane? Are you out of your mind? And that is essentially the story that I got told growing up, loving the game, and despite how much passion I had for it, I always had to sacrifice in order to get my career right. I was on my way to becoming a plastics, orthopedic, or cardiothoracic surgeon, but basketball always had a way of pulling me in. See, for me, I wanted to hang out with the best. And I figured, okay, if I became a team physician, maybe operating on NBA players' torn ACLs, or became a sports medicine consultant for NBA teams and players, I would be in the environment that would give me happiness. But I was not satisfied by being around the environment. And that's when I told myself, if I have to own an NBA team just to pursue my own goals and dreams and give myself the support that no one else was willing to give, and that's what I'm going to have to do. Because at some point in your life, enough is enough. And I want to encourage you that if you have the ability to have goals and dreams, it is a sign preordained and predestined by the universe for you to go claim that dream, as long as you're willing to overcome any obstacles and challenges that life throws your way. For me, I knew that I had to pivot out of the medical field and pursue entrepreneurship because that would be the only thing that can actually give me time, location, and financial freedom to train with the best and pursue what I am personally curious about. Because in business, they say if you hang around 5 or 6 millionaires and multimillionaires, you're most likely gonna be the next one. For me, I say put this Jayhawk next to 5 or 6 NBA Hall of Famers and see what it does to my skill sets. And so I took the commitment up front and I burned all my ships to go into entrepreneurship so that I can create a chance and opportunity at actually making my dreams a reality. Now, even though I was in entrepreneurship, I was making money, but I was not making enough money to where my parents can actually look at me and still go, you are not the disappointment and idiot that we thought you were. As remember, I forwent a surgeon's salary to do what I'm currently doing now. So even though I had found footing in all things business and leadership development, because I have a very passionate value towards leadership as a underrated skill, right? Leadership in terms of being a point guard on the floor, leadership in terms of being an NBA coach, and even an NBA team owner. It is a skill that can be very applicable to all areas of life. And even though I was immersed in that for my entrepreneurial endeavors, I knew I had to partner up and find a better vehicle in order to live the life that I really want to live. See, if you look at someone like Batman or Iron Man, those two guys were just two regular dudes who were able to find wealth. And it was because of their wealth, they were able to actually get access to state of the art technology where they are able to have the resources that they now have to become successful and to become well known as one of the world's most impactful heroes that can actually do something on an impactful scale. For me, it's always been recognized that no matter what dreams and goals you want to achieve, it is much easier to do so if you had wealth on your side. So I'm being undeterred, similar to Les Brown, when most people deemed him as mentally retarded, as a sanitation worker that was not going to go anywhere. I persevered and I told myself, as long as I keep investing in myself and I keep networking, I'm going to align myself with the right people who can take my dreams to reality. And I'm so glad that I stayed the course, because if I hadn't, I would not have met my current business partner today, where we represent a group of former medical professionals who are now investment professionals, specifically in the futures financial markets, where we've been managing money for high net worth individuals for the past 15 years, as well as teaching ordinary people how to navigate and invest in the futures financial markets the right way so that they can create reality in terms of what they actually want to have and no longer have it be a dream. See, there's a gentleman by the name of John Arnold who, after graduating from Vanderbilt, was able to take 1.5 million to 1.5 billion in 2.5 years, allowing him to become one of the youngest billionaires in the US at age 33 back in 2007. And he was not successful outright, but he, after several attempts of navigating the futures financial markets, was able to make it work and he found a way to trade the commodity natural gas correctly and effectively. Now, before he actually became a billionaire, he actually hosted a lot of trading workshops and seminars in Dallas, Texas, which is where a lot of our methodology is based off of, as 70% of our strategies come from Arnold. 30% of it comes from the fact that we do represent a group of former medical professionals. So there's additional prudence, professionalism, and ethics added on top of Arnold's methodology. Now, if you did your due diligence and you research Forbes, what you would find is that 42% of the world's richest actually do this game for a living. And there's a reason for that. After about the top 10 richest men or women on earth, page after page after page, you're going to find hedge fund managers who actually trade futures or commodities for a living. So what is it about this game that's so special? Well, number one, it's all about the leverage that you get within the futures financial markets within the asset class. Number two, it's about how you can actually take advantage of the markets if you have the right knowledge and skill set to utilize it like your own personal ATM. So you can actually go in and go out of the markets and become profitable every single time that you do so. And of course, similar to how Les has now created a speaking empire, you can actually grow and scale your trading business and utilize that scalability to do even bigger things. So today I like to outline the 3 insights of how to take advantage of the futures financial markets correctly and effectively at a championship level so that you can actually live the life that you want, just as I have been able to create for myself, where I am now able to travel for both business and basketball at the same time and not work a day in my life because of what I enjoy doing and who I am doing it with on a consistent basis. The first point that you must pay attention to is the importance of leverage. See, leverage is everything when it comes to not just the financial markets, but life itself. As an entrepreneur listening, it is so important for you to not be someone that works in the business, but someone that works on the business, where you're actually creating systems and processes so that the business can run without you. Now, in terms of trading, it's this very concept that allows one to have success. See, in traditional advice, they share with you, okay, you can invest into real estate or stocks, right? Which on a typical basis has a very, very high barrier to entry. When you look at real estate, I have friends from the real estate syndication world. They tell me that in order for you to even get your hands on a property, you usually have to put 20% down, which on a minimum, it's around $50,000 just to get in the game. And what's the returns that you're looking at? You're looking at 8 to 12% returns on an annual basis. Same thing with stocks, right? Stocks is, if you look at Warren Buffett, it's meant for long-term value investing that actually creates wealth over time. What you have to recognize is that when it comes to investments, all investment products are great investment products. The only issue is the fit that you utilize it in terms of how it actually fits with your current life circumstances. So for example, if your life is a circle and the investment vehicle you happen to choose is a square, you're not going to profit and benefit as much as you thought you were gonna, right? So where the futures financial market lies is in the alternative investment side under derivatives. Okay, so in traditional investments, you have stocks and real estate. In alternative investments under derivatives, you have the futures financial markets, you have stock options, you have Forex currencies. And my job here is to share with you the different leverages that you can have when navigating through these different asset classes, right? So, for example, in stocks itself, or even stock options, there's a daily requirement of $25,000 just to get into the game of stock options if you were to trade it. And that's where, again, it inserts a high entry in terms of barrier to entry that prevents most people from entering in the game. Our job and goal is to share this information to empower the everyday person to take advantage of the markets the right way so that you can also participate in this game and not be shunned from it. See, unless you were heavily involved in the financial districts of the world, such as the New York Stock Exchange or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, it is very difficult for someone to be privy to this information. And that's why colleges don't actually broadcast this, and you don't see it in terms of college career fairs as well. Speaking of colleges, let's talk about the leverage that it does not offer you, right? You're looking at going into school for several years. And guys, remember, I did this. I was pre-med. I was actually KU's pre-med triple major in 5.5 years. And I thought I was doing something big because I got 3 degrees. But, you know, at the end of the day, those degrees don't pay my bills, right? So, and it certainly didn't offer me any flight opportunities to play basketball anywhere I wanted to and train accordingly. So in colleges, right, you're talking about a 4-year commitment, minimally speaking, where you also come out with 6 figures worth of debt, either 200K to 400K, depending on the school that you go to. And you're coming out to make what, $50,000 as a start, sometimes even $30,000. And that's after 4 years. As an investor, my question is, what kind of ROI is that, right? See, what I want for you is not to have a MBA, a Masters of Business Administration, the way that the world tells you to go after, but rather to have a massive bank account so you can actually see wealth from utilizing the right leverage within the futures financial markets. So what does leverage look like within our game, the game that 42% of the world's richest play on a daily basis? Well, first and foremost, we're risking a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio in our trading approaches. So what that means is we're risking $5 to make $15, $50 to make $150, or $500 to make $1,500. And that's just to start. What you have to recognize is that in this asset class, since it is a game that's based on pattern recognition, you can actually make money when the markets go up, down, or sideways. There is a huge misconception out there, especially with stocks, that you can only make money when the stock itself goes up. So for example, back in 2008, let's say you had $1 million tied to the stock market. And when the markets collapse, most people are freaking out because that $1 million valuation of the stock shares will also collapse. And in the game that we play, we are impervious to these types of emotions because, again, it's a game based on pattern recognition where you can actually make money when the markets go up, down, or sideways. And as a matter of fact, when the markets collapse, the markets actually go down 67% faster than when it goes up. So what that means is if you know what you're doing, you can actually be a great short trader. Short means taking advantage when the markets go down. And futures and commodity traders can actually profit while most people are freaking out. And that's a huge leverage that we have when you play this game the right way. What you have to also recognize is that while most people are very apprehensive because of the risks, volatility, and fluctuation involved in the markets, for us, we actually take advantage, just like surfers out in California do, with the waves offered to them, because what we seek to do is we trade in on momentum. We only enter in on trades when the setups are there for us to take advantage of the markets profitably. So very similar to strategic real estate locations, there are strategic trading locations that we educate on, and only when about 5 to 7 factors that we recommend are in confluence, that's when you enter in a trade. And that's what actually gets people profitable. We have a client named Paul. He started with us several years back. He only started with $800, and he was able to take that $800 to over 7 figures within the time span of 2 years. I share this with you because if you know how to leverage the markets to your favor, creating an actual MBA in the sense of a massive bank account is a very possible future, not just for any special individuals, but for all individuals committed to learning this game. While everyone else is telling you to play it safe, to invest conservatively, to not take so many risks, and remain in conformity, aligning yourself with status quo, I'm telling you that in order to create wealth faster, it does not mean taking more risks. In order to create wealth at light speed, there's actually a proprietary science. And if you take advantage of that science, you can become an outlier amongst a crowd of people who are non-believers. See, what you have to recognize is that this game is a very advantageous game for everyone. If you're 40 years old, you want to grow your wealth quickly so you can retire earlier and enjoy your days even more leisurely. If you're 60s and up, you got to create wealth now because time is running out. And regardless of what traditional culture says, I want you to know you have supporters from our private investment firm encouraging you to take risks adequately, correctly, and effectively so you can live the life that you deserve. Point number 2 when navigating the futures financial markets is the ability to treat the markets like your personal ATM, where you can go in and go out on a daily basis and become profitable just like the market is your personal ATM. If you study excellence across the board, no matter what industry we're talking about, you're going to find common themes that these people of success devoted themselves to 2 main things. Number 1, the knowledge. Number 2, the skill set required to become a subject matter expert within that field of choice. It's no different here within the futures financial markets, where you have to first start by developing an open mind and developing commitment to that open mind so that you can actually cultivate a high income skill set that allows you to do many things down the road in terms of creating sustainable profit over and over and over again. The reason why it's important to be able to leverage the markets like your own personal ATM is because that is how you can actually shed away from whatever you're doing now that does not give you happiness and fulfillment. See, with the ATM strategy, we are not meant to be day traders where you're trading in front of your screens for 5 hours to 8 hours. No, no, no. What we're doing here is entering in and exiting the markets within half an hour to an hour and a half, where you can utilize this additional income stream to help supplement you towards the pathway of becoming great, the pathway of chasing your personal goals and dreams, and a pathway where you do not have to be bound by time, location, or finances ever again, just like Les Brown has been able to do through speaking on multiple stages. See, when Les speaks on a stage, it's kind of like his personal ATM, because whenever he speaks, he garners attention and he garners the interest of others to support him, to seek after him, and to hire him for his speaking services. It's the same thing here in the futures financial markets, where instead of speaking, if you learn to hone your trading skill sets the right way, you can actually create an ATM for your MBA, because it is an endeavor that you can control. It is an endeavor that is based on a skill set and proprietary knowledge where no one can ever take that away from you for the rest of your life. This is a game, everyone, that the only cost to it is the internet and your access to a laptop, Wi-Fi connection, and that's it. This is not a brick and mortar business that we're talking about, right? And which is why it's so powerful to recognize that there are only so many games in the world that you can play and do for a living that offers that kind of business model for you. Now, similar to how Les has gone through adversity, you're not going to be able to trade like that immediately. You have to learn to persevere, because creating a personal ATM doesn't come from luck. Creating a personal ATM through the futures financial market requires due diligence, commitment, and resilience on your end. But if you are willing to do that, you will be like someone who is Igor, a current client of ours that is our leading trade instructor, because when he first started with us, he was only making about $60,000 a year annually as a real estate investor. And now that he has learned to leverage the financial markets the right way, he's able to trade 10 to 15 contracts per trading day. Now, just so you guys know, there's 20 trading days in the world, in a month. And when you trade 10 to 15 contracts, that actually equates to $10,000 to $15,000 per trading day. You multiply that by 20, we're talking about a 200 grand per month without having to go through med school, residency, or fellowship. I bring that up because my sister is a child neurologist herself, and she makes about $250,000 a year after studying hard and waiting for about 15 years. This is not a game that you have to wait 15 years to have a personalized ATM at your whim. So I want you to recognize that. And I know that wherever you are right now, if you're listening, an ATM strategy is something that you need to be able to go in and go out of the markets at any day, any night, and become profitable so that you can become financially free and do the things that you deserve to do. The third insight to having success within the futures financial markets is trading like a business, not just a hobby. Because when you treat trading like a business, you can actually grow and scale it and utilize those benefits to life. So for example, let's talk about business owners in general. It's so important for entrepreneurs to not work inside the business, but actually have systems and processes that work on the business so that you can actually duplicate yourself and be in other locations while the business is running automatically on its own, right? It's the same thing with trading, except when you are able to trade better, you can trade bigger. And see what happens is you first start by trading for yourself. And when you master that, you can actually trade for others, which is why we've been able to manage money for the past 15 years for high net worth individuals. And if you have the track record and experience to back it up, which is 5 years and more, you can actually trade for institutions, which is why several years ago, we were able to negotiate a deal with an international bank up in Canada called Scotia Bank or Nova Scotia for a contract worth 9 figures, right? But the thing is, that would not have come about if there was no skill set, if there was no leverage, and if there was no ATM strategy to take advantage of. When I speak about someone like Igor, he didn't start by trading 10 to 15 contracts. He first started by mastering one contract where each point in the futures financial markets, specifically within the Dow US 30 index, the main markets that we trade, is $5 per point. So when you are able to extract 10 points from the market, that would be $50. When you're able to extract 5 or 100 points from the markets, that becomes $500. And that's where if you multiply that number by 10 or 15, you would get to 10 to 15,000, right? That's what Igor has been able to do by scaling up his contract sizes, to 10 or 15 contracts every single trading day. And just so you know, the additional things that come from the skill set is immense in terms of the opportunities that it provides for you. As I mentioned, you can also manage money and trade for institutions. But more importantly, if you want to utilize this as a structure to enhance what you're currently doing in your business, as we all know, sales is the lifeblood of any business, right? And that's why we have sales departments and people dialing and making phone calls. With this unique skill set, you can actually create what we call an internal investment fund or a satellite hedge fund within your own company, where you're not cultivating an army of salespeople, but you can actually transfer the skill to your employees and team members. So now you not only have a trading department, but you can utilize maybe 10 to 20% of your capital gains in the main business. You put it towards the trading department and you grow it the right way. So now you can utilize the profits from that internal trading department or investment fund to allocate it towards expenses, to allocate it to hire new people, or updating your technology platforms so that you can continue to grow and scale your company the way that you have envisioned to. The point is, trading itself can lead to many things where it first starts as a skill set, but ultimately it is a catalyst for growing and scaling not just your business, but your life as well. One of my team members, his name is Brandon, he is super dedicated to leveraging wealth to create clean water and sustainable agriculture, which is the reason why he got into civil engineering in the first place. But let me tell you something, getting paid 75, 100K a year, 75 to 100K a year at an engineering job, working 80 hours a week is not an endeavor that will get that done. And because he recognized the power of leverage, ATM profitability, as well as the realities that can come about from growing and scaling your trading business the right way, he has now devoted himself to studying the skill set where he's been able to generate returns around 38% per day for himself. And so I urge all of you to take a look at what this fascinating game has to offer for you, because there's only so many windows in life that it actually offers for you to take that leap of faith, to go after the goals and dreams that were predestined for you. And if you miss out on these windows of opportunities, it's going to be very difficult for you to get a hold of that vehicle that could transform your life forever. One of the things and questions that I get asked the most about is, Philip, you're here preaching championship excellence within the investment world, but do you actually work with individuals around this topic? And the answer is a resounding yes. I'd like to cordially invite you to be our guest at zero obligation when you click this link below. What happens is you will be able to hang out with us for the next 2 weeks at zero obligation, where you can join us for our weekly sessions where we break down the markets, explain why things happen and how they happen in the evenings for 1 hour. And in the mornings for half an hour, we prove what we teach and we actually make money live in front of you. A lot of our existing clients, when they have their trading platform set up the right way, they actually trade alongside us and they take profits accordingly to the ratios that their account allows them to have. So what this invite means for you is an opportunity to implement the 3 pillars that we actually discussed today. It is an opportunity for you to witness live light speed investing embedded within the futures financial markets, so that whatever goals and dreams you have no longer stay as dreams, but you actually see a pathway for it to becoming reality. And what it will do for you is it will enhance your belief of going after the thing that you really want to, because you have an obligation and responsibility to become the change that you want to see. Now, as an addition, because you guys are part of the Les Brown audience, when you click the link below and join us for the next 2 weeks, we're also going to provide a complimentary Lightspeed Investing concierge call for you, where you can ask us any questions around investing, whether it be whatever it is that you've done before, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked, why is it that the futures financial markets differ from other asset classes in detail. We will be there for you to provide further support and answer whatever questions you have as your personal concierge. For me to have gotten to where I am now, I have personally invested over 100K outside of formal education so that I can enhance my own business and investment acumen and currently live the life that I'm living, where I can travel for both business and basketball training on a consistent basis. For you today, this is not an investment that's going to cost you $100K. This is a cordial invite that you just have to embrace and say yes to, and everything else will unfold accordingly to the way that you want to see fit. Whether you are someone who is struggling to get out of a 9-to-5, maybe you are someone who is a beginning entrepreneur wanting to leverage the right vehicle so you get to wealth faster, or a big boss, multi-figure business owner who has been seasoned in entrepreneurship, learning, and hanging around Lightspeed investing for the next 2 weeks is the right next step for you. I want you to picture a day when you are no longer bound by time, location, or financial restrictions, and you can wake up and do the things that you love because you have a schedule that you have created. I want you to picture a day when one of your loved ones comes up to you and says, "Wow, I am so proud of you for being such a reliable pillar of this family, because you can provide anything and everything that they ask for." And I want you to picture a day where the next generation comes up to you and asks you how to actually create a massive bank account for themselves, because you have learned to harness the power of Lightspeed investing embedded within the futures financial markets. As we come to a close today, I want to remind you that when Mario Chalmers hit the game-tying shot back in 2008 against Memphis, a lot of outsiders dubbed it as the miracle shot. However, us Jayhawks knew that that was not something to be considered as a miracle, but it was something where once we hit that game-tying shot, the championship was within our sights, because even though Memphis was led by D Rose and a great coach in John Calipari, the difference was that we had a team that was dedicated to one common objective, where we were willing to shed individual glory for team victory, where you give up a good shot for the great shot. And because our bench was so much deeper than theirs, victory was going to be imminent, because when it comes to stamina and fatigue, we had the upper hand, and that's why we walked away victorious. Guys, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. I'm Philip Jayhawk Chan. I bleed crimson and blue through and through, and by utilizing the power of Lightspeed investing, I hope you do too. Take care and have a fantastic day.